Thanks, Tatiana. Now, a GB News exclusive, because we are hearing that a hotel in Chichester is reportedly set to close from next week as it's going to be housing asylum seekers.
Yeah, it sparked a local backlash with jobs lost and events at the venue being cancelled at short notice. Swimming coaching company DPD Coaching has been forced to call off all future lessons.
GB News Investigates reporter Charlie Peters is with us in the studio. Charlie, this is inevitably going to anger a lot of local people. What are you hearing?
A lot of concerns. Some very nervous local residents in Chichester who haven't been fed, they claim, sufficient information about what is going to happen to this local hotel, a really important part of the community for them, not just for, of course, tourism and visitors, but also for their businesses. Now, DPD Coaching is a swimming company and a sports training company. It's been around since 1999, and it's used this hotel for the last 15 years, coaching over 100 people every week in swimming lessons. It found out on Monday that its contract with this hotel was being cancelled at the weekend.
And these are children's lessons?
Yeah, all ages from 2.5 to above, but the majority of their customers are children. And from tomorrow, its final lessons will take place. And, you know, a lot of the business people I've been speaking to, and in particular the founder of DPD Coaching, said that they've just recovered from the dangers and the struggle of the coronavirus pandemic. And here they were, you know, hoping to really bounce back from that. And this is their second largest venue, you know, pulled up from under their feet with just a week's notice.
Now, inevitably in these situations, there are staff layoffs, redundancies. An interesting extra element to this, I've heard from my contacts in the area, is that the hotel in question is also used by the local Tory MP Gillian Keegan for her association meetings. So if that's true, this will be causing particular embarrassment. This week, Charlie, we found out that the bill for housing asylum seekers in hotels has risen to £8 million per day, at the same time when the government said that they would stop this in a minister's backyard. This would be severely embarrassing.
Yeah, £8.2 million a day is, as Yvette Cooper, the Shadow Home Secretary, said, astronomical costs. Over 50,000 asylum seekers held in hotels as of June of this year. So clearly it is a major problem that the government is struggling to deal with. I mean, it's said that it's going to start doubling up asylum seekers in rooms to reduce costs. But clearly the impacts on local businesses and these short-term changes are ongoing and are impacting lots of people. I mean, Gillian Keegan in her constituency will wait to see if that's confirmed. But we do know that weddings, wakes, the local Rotary Club, they've all had, at very short notice, their opportunities to gather cancelled. And there aren't many public venues available in these sorts of towns. You know, hotels are a really useful place for conferencing as well.
And also, Chichester, it's a lovely place, attracting a lot of visitors. I mean, Goodwood Circuit's only a couple of minutes down the road. So is there going to be enough other hotels to put tourists in? That's
the thing. I mean, the locals I've spoken to who are using this hotel for business have said that they're scrambling desperately to find backup venues for many of their events. I mean, DPD Coaching told me that they've spoken to 5 different swimming pools in the local area, and they're struggling to get past reception because demand for all sorts of replacement activities is so high. So it's almost certain they're going to be out of pocket for a while. And both the Home Office and the local hotel that we're in contact with haven't confirmed to what extent they are supporting local businesses that have been impacted by this decision.
And I've been speaking to a contact on the ground who's been speaking to locals and staff members who are simply too afraid to go on public record to speak out about this because they're terrified of being labelled as racist. But off the record, what kind of things have people been saying to you, Charlie?
Well, we spoke about the astronomical, as Yvette Cooper said, economic costs here. But there are also costs reported by locals about community cohesion and about trust with the local governance. And that a lot of these changes, they say, are happening very suddenly and they don't know who's arriving. There are concerns from mothers I've spoken to this morning about whether or not they'll let their children walk around freely without supervision in their local area, as they might once have done before. Will the school run be changed? Will they be able to walk to school as, you know, return to term is happening?
I mean, the streets might not be, you know, the streets are necessarily not safe anyway. It doesn't, just because there might be asylum seekers in a hotel doesn't necessarily make the streets massively more dangerous. You have to be careful with children walking alone anyway on the streets at night.
But these parents just don't know who's arriving, and they don't know to what extent they'll be monitored, whether or not they'll be allowed to walk around the area freely at night. I think lots of parents, with the lack of information being given to them by the Home Office and indeed the hotel at this stage, are filling a vacuum of information with a lot of fear, and that's all that we're hearing at the moment.
I mean, the thing is, we come back to this this age-old debate about there's over 50,000 migrants in hotels at the moment, but they have to go somewhere, and the government doesn't seem to have... No, the Bibi Stockholm barge would hold only a fraction of them anyway, but that's not got any people there. I mean, you worked out how many Bibi Stockholm barges you would need.
Yeah, so the Bibi Stockholm
to put people on
has been cleared of Legionnaires today. It holds 506 maximum capacity. I've worked out that since the Bibi Stockholm was closed on August the 11th, we've had 7,826 illegals arrive. Since then, we'd need 15.5 Bibi Stockholms just for the people who've arrived since the Bibi was closed. But nevertheless, they are still falling back on hotels, despite the fact, Charlie, they said they wouldn't. And I repeat again, 8.2 million quid per day. And stories like this in a minister's backyard will underline the fact the Conservatives have completely lost control of illegal immigration.
And they'll point to their illegal migration bill and the attempts they are making, of course, with the Rwanda plan. But as it stands, as you clearly say, Martin, the struggle is ongoing, and they are, it appears, to be failing significantly on this strategy. And as this continues, local concerns will, I think, grow. And I'll be speaking to locals in Chichester throughout the afternoon to get the latest on this. But I expect the conversations I've been having this morning and last night will be more of the same this afternoon. People lacking information on what's going on, the Home Office and the hotel and local businesses not knowing enough about what's going to happen to them and filling that.
I mean, this seems to be a huge part of it, the lack of consultation here. You know, communication is such a key thing.
But there's also a lack of transparency, because we've known about this since the start of the week, and we've been contacting the Home Office all week saying, will you tell us, is this happening or not? And fair to say, they've dragged their heels, because they know that when the story comes out, there's an embarrassment. I think, do we have...
We have a statement from the Home Office. A spokesperson has said and told us the number of people arriving in small boats is down compared with last year, but we must go further to stop the boats in the first place. That is why we are determined, through the Illegal Migration Act, to ensure that anyone arriving in the UK illegally is detained and swiftly removed to their country of origin or a safe third country. We're also working hard to reduce the unacceptable use of hotels by moving asylum seekers into alternative, cheaper accommodation, doubling them up in hotel rooms and clearing the legacy backlog.
Well, Charlie, I mean, that's a great load of rhetoric there. But it clearly isn't happening. It clearly isn't happening if they're saying they're going to stop hotels, yet here we are again, another one opening.
If it's unacceptable, you'd expect them to stop doing it, wouldn't you, frankly? DPD Coaching, the swimming company, only found out on Monday that their contract was being cancelled. We're hearing from them that the staff told this coach that they only found out last Friday, so they've only known for a week. Very short turnaround, very short amount of time for businesses to react. And locals, as I said, extremely concerned. How to get people offside straight away? By no communication.
No, that's it. But I think people are all allowed to be concerned. And as you said, in that vacuum of information, you know, rumour sweeps through. And we don't know who the residents are. They're typically military-aged men. It's just a fact of matter. And they're not allowed to be mixed sex because of safety concerns for those people within them, right? So the residents themselves aren't allowed to be mixed. That is why they're typically tend to be men. Did we know how many people are moving into this hotel? And is the hotel big enough for this number of people? Is there likely to be an overspill? So I've looked in, if it is this hotel in question, which I'm pretty sure it is, it has 81 double rooms, but they typically don't, they try to repurpose common areas as well and put more beds in them. And the locals are saying, reportedly, it's as many as 300 residents could be going into this hotel. And we did at the Home Office now started doubling up rooms with, you know, well, they doubled the capacity on the barge. Precisely, there we go. So that reduces, I think, some of the strain on the strategy that they are deploying. But again, I mean, overspill into local area, we'll have to see. But the number of people arriving on small boats across the channel is such that there will never be the right number of beds available in these towns for the number of asylum seekers that they are dealing with. And so the strain of possible overflow in the area will, I think, spark a lot of fears from local residents. And, of course, this is happening, as we said, with a lack of information that these locals are reporting from the Home Office. So rumour will fly around, and, of course, it's up to us to cut through that and find out what's true. OK, Charlie Peters, thank you. An exclusive on GB News, superb work, and please keep on top of that story. Any developments, let them come through to the live desk throughout the rest of the show. Top work.